But you can do your thing.
Do my thing. My thing is saying, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Buddha back in the building for another Power Creep podcast, and a pretty hype one because we have a collab in the building. Everybody this morning dropped the Persona 5 Royal or Royale. I don't know if I'm triggering people with how I'm saying that. What's going on, y'all? We got my co-hosts with me. We got Tweaks
What's up, fellas?
and Demos the Demented Panda.
What's up?
There he is. Thank you for your patience. I know we pushed the podcast back 30 minutes, very last minute. So we're here now. We got a squad in the house. What's going on, everyone in chat? But we got to get into the deets about today because I think there's a lot to unpack here. Two characters, event, just any details on the Maze of Tartarus. I know, Tweaks, you haven't really talked much about that because we kind of skipped last week.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's all right. We don't have to talk about it, but, you know, people like to know things sometimes.
I know.
However,
They don't get the sauce, though. They can't have the sauce.
No. The sauce and the spotlight is going to, I think, first off, who we see on the screen. But before we jump into his details, how is your first day in the collab going, gentlemen?
Anna, go ahead.
You really want to know?
It's kind of just part of the
let's hear
program
about what
now,
you got.
Panda. Panda Salt is part of our little intro.
You're gonna get like taken down.
All right, well, I'll just preface this. I'll explain it. Panda got the cat in the tickets and does not want to participate in the rest of the collab.
Panda did
That's
not
pretty
enjoy.
cool.
Not until part 2.
Panda did not enjoy the book Cat in the Hat, everyone.
No.
Which is fine. All right. Well, regardless, Buddha, you and I both got Joker and Morgana, and I think I had my stream earlier and was having a lot of fun testing them and seeing what they're capable of, and I know you did the same. So, as much as the event I'm enjoying, and it's specifically, I know most people would agree with me, the music is fantastic. Whether that's your niche or your interest or not. So having something different from the last Cloudia music is fantastic, and unfortunately, can't play it during the stream. But this
both
is to do with it.
Yeah, both Tweaks and I got hit with nice little copyright strikes. So cool little one and done for sure. But
yeah,
we appreciate. I know the players. It's good for the players. It is a nice little mix up from the last Cloudia music you hear every single day playing. So
yeah, I mean, especially if you don't play with volume on normally, throw it on, enjoy a little bit of it, even if you don't enjoy it for very long. Just try it out. But the collab brought some pretty interesting stuff from the collab event, as well as some unique mechanics that we have never seen before for units, which is going to be a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about, and we'll see just how good they are. I just kind of want to preface this just a little bit, and I'll ask you. Is with most collabs, is there anything in the collab so far that you're saying is a must pull? Buddha?
Not at all.
Yep, perfect. And that's the answer for most things. When something absolutely broken comes out, we'll let you know is if there's a must pull, but there's not a thing right now.
We haven't had a thing like that in a very long time. I don't even think there was ever a must pull except for Spirit Maiden Tyria.
Closest to a must pull, in my opinion, there's been a few things in the game. Okay. The last thing that showed up was Honey Elixir, in my opinion. That's been a thing, and that's bared its teeth in things like Maze and in places where units weren't going to need SCT, which is literally everywhere. I would say Roy is probably the closest to a must pull that we've ever had for a unit that's come out, honestly.
You put him over Tyria?
No, I don't. But that would put them on a level playing field. Is it like and she's like a lot way easier to get, right? She's not more like a must pull. She's more like you should get her when she's available, but you're not really stressed about snagging her, whatever. Like
get her eventually.
Yeah, right. And then Winter's Apple Pie is up there with Honey Elixir, but not quite as much as so. And like, there's nothing, and we'll let you know when there is something that's going to be a must pull. But nothing in this collab is going to be a must pull. It's just some really good stuff and some good mechanics and some good skills, arcs. What are you going to do? So
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We also have part 2 coming up, so we have like half the details that we don't have yet. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get into Batman's arch nemesis right here?
Batman's arch nemesis? Is that Joker?
I think so.
Or is that a cat? I don't know.
Well,
Which one's the arch nemesis?
I don't know.
But regardless, all right, we'll start with Joker though. Joker's pretty sweet. He's a dark physical DPS with some interesting mechanics. As to his abilities, go down is going to be a medium air hard dark combo attack. This is melee range, so he's gonna have to go up and slap a full. You and I both noticed he's extremely slow. Like if you don't give him if you don't give him movement speed, he's just like it's like dragon,
man.
Oh my god. But he has 2 ranged attacks, so his S2 is actually pretty solid. He has to be like in a cone shaped range, like kind of like we've seen a lot with other things, but he doesn't jump in. He sends out a skill, a little flurry skill. And then his S3 is the big boy. This is going to be 16 hits, 32 dual wield, with being long range. It's not quite like huge wide area. They keep saying wide area, but literally nothing is wide area as Roy. And in my opinion, it's pretty small wide area. Like they could have said a medium area here, and it would have been fine. But it is long range. It's pretty good. It's pretty strong DPS, which I'm enjoying. The checkmate is the attack is a special that starts out single target and then is followed up by most of the special is AoE, and then the final hit gets an extra 40,000 cap at 4th Awaken, which is nothing crazy, but we'll see in a second just how ridiculous things get when you get him into a hypothetically perfect scenario, and it's not that bad to do. So trait 1 though, Steel Arsene, dark damage plus 40%, damage cap plus 14,000. Notably, this is all dark damage and all dark damage cap. When attacking an enemy that has the lost debuffs, damage cap plus 30,000. If dark attack damage is cut by enemy dark resistance, cut the resistance 50% and deal damage. So this is something that we're going to have to explain in a second about the lost debuff. So keep that in mind. When an enemy gains the lost debuff, all damage done to the enemy with the lost debuff is going to be 30%. You're going to get a 30,000 damage cap boost to every single avenue of damage against that enemy. That includes it doesn't matter about the typing, it doesn't have to be dark. That includes things like arc skills, that includes things like magic, that includes every other avenue of damage while the enemy has a lost debuff. So you can do some pretty nutty stuff with this if you build your team around getting that lost debuff activated, which is pretty interesting. As to the trait 2 though, Wild, nullify anti-type effects from enemies, which is cool because you're going to be wanting to get a lot of mimicries, a lot of unit typings on him to snag that boost for the second part of the trait 2, which is when defeating the enemy, gain that enemy's types. Sure, he steals enemy's types so he can gain more damage, stats, and mitigation. But this second part is what it states: boost strength, defense, intelligence, and mind, and damage dealt, and cut damage taken based on number of traits or types the unit has. So we've gotten some information from Lake that each typing that he has on his person, is going to be a 1.5% boost to each of those categories. So unfortunately, what that means is in order to max this out, you need all 16 types in the entire game to get that 24%. So in my opinion, and this is a little preface, we have 14 mimicries in the game. We are missing bird and insect mimicry. Now I'm gonna spoil a little bit. The paid accessory has those 2 as well as 2 others. So if you have the paid accessory, you're gonna have 4 typings plus his soldier typing is gonna be 5 typings. So that's gonna be a 7.5% boost in all of these. In order to get the rest of the way there, you'll need 11 mimicries assumedly you're not going to be stealing the types from enemies because enemy typing is not just like hey, we have a map where there's every single unit typing. No, that just doesn't happen.
No.
So if you wanted to like start out with him base, it would cost you 22 SC to fill out another 16.5% damage, like stats, damage dealt, and cut damage taken. I'm not sure that's worth it, and we'll have to go through like testing and stuff. But I'm not a big fan of that. So the free mimicries on the paid is cool and all. I just don't think this is something that you need to lean super heavily into. And
it also doesn't sound realistic.
Doesn't sound realistic. I wish it was like 2% or 3% just to make it would feel a lot better in all seriousness.
You're basically like playing Joker. Anything except extremely tailored for this trait, you are never going to see this trait fully active, which I think is dumb.
Right. And like Ark also mentions, one of the only reasons you would potentially force that onto him is if you're also using Blaze Garden SSR Arc on like someone else or him, because they get boosted damage mitigation from the amount of mimicries in the party. So you could make it work for a general party synergy type deal, but I don't think it's in general. You're not gonna want to make this like your main focus of building him. So, but it's cool because the trait 2 itself, no matter what type you get, you're nullifying the anti-type effect. So you're nullifying the slayers against you, which is cool.
For sure.
Okay, let's get into his passives because his passives are pretty interesting. He has some. Sure. Now we're gonna get into scaling because this is just very confusing. Joker and Morgana are a little bit confusing in what stats they scale with because they have a lot of things in their kits. But regardless, Fighting Spirit 4, Arcane up 4, Heroism 2. You got Crit, Advanced Vitals, Proud Force, Illusion. Brute Slayer is nice to have innately. It gives 6 layers. Special boost innate, fantastic. Blind Research and Curse Research, and we'll get into he has like Terror Mouth stuff. The problem with that is that he can only activate, so far at least, we don't have an equipment that can activate for him ailments on physical attacks, but only on regular attacks. And I would, for most physical DPS, you're going to be wanting to be using your skills and doing damage instead of sitting there regular attacking. So I don't love that. But he does have these available if you want to proc ailments. Auto critical, auto haste, beautiful. Awaken, awesome. Pride 2, solid. Dark Mega Drive, Dark Attack Rays. I wish he had more, like Dark Eye Drive, maybe Dark Attack Rays 2, Dark Attack Rays 3. But then, I'm being selfish. Terror Mouth 3, like I said before, is going to be nice to have. Basically, if you're going to be using units that use like Terror Mouths and stuff, it's incredibly conditional to have them forcing them into regular attacking unless you're purposely built for that. But for like units like Joker who want to be doing damage with their skills, you're going to be wanting to probably bring another unit that's going to be activating those via applying ailments themselves. Thaumaturgy Ring, which is interesting because he now scales his physical attacks based on intelligence as well. Sword Mega Boost, awesome. I'm a big fan of the swords in this game as well as his paid, so this is useful for him. Sharp Eyes, of course, free. Giant Killing 2 for free is fantastic. Death God, having that for free, sure. Paranoia. And Paranoia is, again, a part of his kit where you'd have to be regular attacking in order to really get use of this. And that's counterintuitive to him actually doing damage. So, I don't know. Paranoia is interesting on a unit that doesn't have any innate physical attack applications of ailments.
That's the big difference for me between Joker here and what I'd consider a true status ailment DPS. I think missing those status ailments on the skills is a pretty big bridge that he doesn't have.
You're not wrong. I agree with you completely.
To me, it feels like Paranoia being there is just useless to begin with. Like, they could have put something else there. It would have been better.
And that's the funny thing. Like in the way I'm going to build him, I'm not going to build him for regular attacks. At the moment, I'm not going to build him for regular attacks to apply ailments at all. And that's the only way I'd be getting SCT. So it just feels a little bad I wish they would just add maybe one skill, maybe like on the S3, just add like a curse or something. Something that can happen for their proc is Terror Mouth, all that good stuff.
Or even do like they did with melee and like throw it on his paid.
Yeah, we need
Something.
to be fair. We are short of having a general purpose equipment, even one single general purpose equipment that has an ailment on physical attacks. Like we have a bunch that apply on regular attacks. Sure, that's normal. We have yet to have one that applies on physicals, and then when that comes, that's going to be a nice little addition to. I mean, that's just from base for anyone that has paranoia. That's going to be a nice little addition. The chance encounter is pretty interesting. This is essentially your quick trigger skill stock boost for all of your stocks, and it's 35% chance. So every battle start, every wave start, 35% chance to get your CT stocks by 1, which is higher than I expected. That's really nice. Technical. This is where we start getting into the lost debuff, and we didn't talk about the actual debuff yet. So before we get into technical, why don't we go jump over and talk about treacherous intent? Treacherous Intent is a unique castable debuff from, I'm assuming, well, at least Joker and Morgana, but probably all of the Persona 5 units. Basically what it is once per wave, you can cast this on an enemy. Whether you choose to use this on the boss, choose this to use this on a non-boss enemy, that's up to you. But I would obviously throw this on a boss if they're available. What this does is it gives, for 30 seconds, it gives minus 10% strength, defense, intelligence, mind to the boss. If that boss is broken within that 30 seconds, it changes that debuff to a lost debuff, changes all those stat debuffs to minus 25%, which is extremely strong. But what it really does is it activates Joker's damage boosters. And we're going to go in here. So technical, when an enemy basically gets in break and gains that lost debuff, he gains 30% damage against them, as well as 30% ailments, another 30% damage against status ailments. If he is the one doing the break, the boss will get 50% more break, or break recovery time. So the break will be extended by 50% longer, as well as the duration of the lost debuffs. And I forgot to test the actual duration of the lost debuff, but we can do that in a sec. Give up. This is when physically attacking and give treacherous intent. Debuff if break gauge is at 10% or less once per wave. Now, Buddha, did you test this if this was on the actual break gauge, or is this during break?
No, this is
Is this pre-break?
This is pre-break.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I'm sure.
Okay. I also haven't tested because I've only been singular, like using a breaker to bypass that last 10%.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, let me just stop there.
Yeah,
we haven't tested it yet.
So ravage them when physically attacking. This is if you've applied treacherous intent to a non-boss enemy. If you physically attack them with, if you just physically attack a non-boss enemy, which I don't think is very viable in most situations, even in places like Tower Maze, like the non-boss enemies really aren't that crazy. Well, they're not crazy, but they're not more. It's not more optimal to apply this to a boss rather than a non-boss enemy. But damage to enemies with lost debuff plus 50%. So basically what you're getting is a 50% lost debuff boost, 50% damage boost, as well as a 30% damage boost here. As well as in his traits, when lost is activated, you get 30,000 damage cap and all dark attack damage. If resisted, that resist is cut by 50%. So yeah, he does a lot of damage against enemies that have even high dark resist, as well as getting just a ton of boosted damage during break, which is where you're going to have that lost debuff. And on that note, how was his break, Buddha? How did we discuss that? We didn't discuss that.
I didn't talk to you in detail about it, but I did hear you say that it's not very relevant.
So I did test his break, and it's terrible. The where I usually test is the Ardent Border stage, the Unexpected Foe, against those gods. And just for reference, a Murrin S3 is going to do 50% of the boss's break bar in one S3, or 50 to 60%. His does about 8% of an entire S3, right? And his S2 and S1 are worse. So there's almost no break. Just for reference, before we even get there, Morgana with a full break setup is going to do 35% of the boss break bar with the S3. So
that is respectable.
his break bar is about four times or more than Joker's. Joker has almost non-existent break. You have many units who have more break than him. So I
All of
do,
them.
yeah, almost all of them, which is crazy.
Theria.
But what you're going to be adding to him to amplify his damage, of course, he is not single wheel locked. So you're going to be wanting to use dual wield for sure, 100% on him. Not only to double his hit counts, but double his break if it's pretty much non-existent. Let's go with default. Let's see what I have on him right at the moment. What did I use on him? We were using him for Martigate. Dragon Slayer. I have Dragon Slayer on him. Bow equip because I really like the bow. We'll go over the clips in a second. But Pride, Dark Eye Drive, Pirate's Feast for waves, Maglion because S3 is ranged, Sword Boost and Sword High Boost, which he doesn't come with innate. Purple Orb, of course, if you have it, it's fantastic. Skill Charge 1 and 2 for the first wave, and that's pretty much it. There's not ESC right there for what I'm using him for. But why don't we go over the equips? So we can talk about his paids. Let me just throw it on because we're going to have to discuss it. But the Rebel Knife is going to be his weapon, right? So it's going to be a sword. It's going to be Dark Attribute, which we have a lack of is Dark Attribute swords. Unless you've not used the Holy Zajadojan equips that we were given during the event and then Godforge them into the Zajadojan. If you haven't done that, then cool. But if not, then you're looking at like Calamitous. Right. Or like that Cruel Oath from the Nier. Like there's just not...
Let's throw on a little guard
We have a hard lack of dark swords. But Rebel Knife, 218 strength, 153 intelligence. Cool. We're all looking at dark physical attack damage plus 15%, dark physical attack damage cap plus 1500, and continuous brave effect. Those are all very good passives. Like it's just a good weapon for him. And we have a lack... Because there's a lack of dark swords, it's going to be nice on him. But the accessory, 250 HP, 40 each of each stat, and then 5 each of the resistances, as well as adds 4 typings to the unit. So this basically just gives you a 6% increase to all of his stats, as well as 6% damage boost and 6% damage mitigation boost. When enemy is in break, SCT recovery speed plus 50%. This is a good bit, but it's not going to be like, make or break his character. The continuous war effect, stacking with his thaumaturgy ring is just nice to have in general, just for damage boosting. I like them both, and I'll probably use both on him very, very often. It's just I don't know if I really care about the mimicries, to be honest.
Especially not at the percentage they're given.
Mm-hmm. Now, the main reason this is super potent, if you would ever want to decide to use those and max out the damage mitigation, which is probably one of the more important things, as well as like, if you were using Blaze Garden, is because those mimicries, the bird and insect specifically, we don't have mimicries for. Gotcha. So, and I'm assuming we'll get those eventually. So, assuming we'll get those eventually, this doesn't hold that much value. But the enemy is in break SCD recovery speed. That's going to be additive recovery speed. So, he already has 100% base with 25% auto haste. So, it's going to be 50% more, giving additive going to 175%, which yes, it is a boost to SCT, but how long does that break last?
Not very
long. Not very long. So you're only going to have 175% SCT speed during that short window. Not really that crazy. Mm-hmm. For units that have like Vaughn, who has like 200% SCT recovery speed. Yeah, that's substantial.
Yeah.
That's going to put him to 3 times as much as normal. This is just adding a little bit more. So I don't think it's that crazy. But weapons, I want to talk about weapons that are good alternatives to him, right? Let's go with, let me just throw the ones that I had on here. Let's find some room. All right. So weapons, right? So this first one right here is fantastic. Having a dark weapon on him with the dark attribute is going to be really nice if you want to use that Goddess Kiss, use that Honey Elixir, Winnie's Apple Pie sustain for yourself. If you have it, great. But this one specifically being 322 strength, dark physical attack damage plus 20%, and then, this essentially cuts 20 res off of every resisted dark enemy up to, it doesn't go past 0, but if they are resisted at all, it will cut 20% automatically for all their physicals. this is a fantastic weapon, and this is one of the best in slot for almost every dark attacker in the game. You can't use weapon boost for it right now because we don't have bow boost and bow high boost, or bow mega boost for that matter. But it's a really, really strong weapon. Now let's look at dark weapons that we have otherwise. We have Cleave, which is actually a pretty good one. If an enemy is poisoned and it's being dark attribute, you have all damage is going to be boosted by 50%. Which, I don't know if you noticed, but he has a ton of damage multipliers, especially when things in loss. And the fact that if an enemy's poisoned at that time, like, holy smokes.
Yep.
This is one of the better weapons for him. I mean, then we're looking at other dark weapons that just aren't there, right? Like, the bow is one of the best. Cleave is fantastic. I mean, Glutton God's Fiend Cleaver. I think this is from the Abaddon arc. Strong strength, as well as giving pose of victory. And then SCT on kills. Awesome. One of the worst. Please don't use this weapon. The Cursed Sword of Crestbane. This is like one of the worst weapons in the entire game, if not the worst weapon in the entire game, because it's terrible. Like, do not use this. Do not think this is an alternative. When I say there's dark sword alternatives, this is not it. I mean, if you have to use it, sure, but please, I guess it's your only permanent option, because now we're looking at Cruel, Blood Oath, and Calamitous as being this is event locked. This is event locked.
I would just recommend going to a no attribute sword at that point.
I don't know, man. It's just that's tough because it doesn't give you anything. It's just
that sword is horrible.
It is horrible, but people don't have options. There's no options.
Go for Muramasa, bro. Like,
base
if you're
Muramasa,
struggling,
I don't know. I'd still do this over the base Muramasa, but you know what? It's just
base
what you're looking at
Muramasa. What you mean?
Is no options for dark swords. This is how they create need for paid weapons, because just like we had Leona at the time. I know she had like a story Earth Claw or whatever, but like there were like no Earth Claws in the game, and then they added paid Earth Claw. Of course they did. And this is like the same shit. So yeah, they're creating artificial scarcity just because, and making people want the dark sword.
Yeah,
which stinks. It just feels bad a little bit. I wish we had a better option.
I wasn't talking about pre-Pure Blade, by the way.
You're talking about.
I was saying
Pure Blade with non-attribute.
I'd recommend no attribute Pure Blade before I'd ever tell someone to run Crestbane.
In general, yeah, but if you needed those Goddess Kiss procs because the dark damage is so high on him, I'd still probably run Crestbane, but it's just such a bad weapon. I mean, Whirlblade Globus is great for AERs. There's a ton of AERs to be used on him, being dark damage, as well as ailments against bosses, whatever items you want to use. You got ODM gear, Palm Kilometer, Mithril Relief, stuff like that. Cap raising, like there's a ton of really good options.
Shout out Driftstone for all the newbies out there.
Driftstone,
hell yeah, love that.
Listen. That's the funniest thing. You like, it's 15% for raised or for enemies in the air. El Dravana Arskill, when I was testing earlier with this lost cap stuff, is just nuts because it's straight 15% damage when they're raised. Anyways, why don't we try him out first, and we'll go through what exactly it comes with. Comes with him. Buddha, hi.
Hey,
you can come with.
Little Gen action.
All right. So one thing that I really, really like on him is going to be Melee Mirror as an arc. Reason being, the arc skill obviously can automatically apply elements, and that enables him quite a bit. And it's dark damage, so it's gonna pair really nicely with him. But we're gonna go with Council for now and show off his skills a little bit. See what he's got working with him.
I like him a lot. And they went a little crazy with the pixel art for him, right?
We'll let it zoom in for a sec, but yeah, the pixel art is fantastic.
Yeah, they
added, really nice
they
job.
did like an extra layer of pixels when designing these characters, or something. Because what's funny though is that it makes him taller than the entire other roster.
Really?
Have you noticed that?
I didn't even notice. No, I did not notice.
He's a giant. He's like 7 foot in this game.
That's funny. That's funny. That's really funny. All right, so we're gonna cast Treacherous Intent. I'm gonna throw this on him, and as you see, we hit the 35% chance. So we got +1 stocks to everything, as well as I have stocks or skill charge 1 and 2. So he's got some nice stocks.
I love that ability.
Yeah, it's literally just quick trigger for all your stocks, which I mean can stack with quick trigger, can stack with other sources. It's nice.
Just like a nice treat when it procs.
So steel is gonna be, and again, I think I have the right slayers on, but this is against 50 res.
Oh, straight caps.
I mean, Gen is giving me a 30% boost, but like
Gen's pretty dope. Yeah.
But like, come on. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's similar to Sheeta. Like
this is what you're going to be looking at. I mean, like, this is similar to Sheeta.
Well, how Sheeta can just tear through dark res.
Oh yes, I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah, no, sorry. Let me stop myself.
So this is fine. Everything's fine. We're just gonna run around for a second. Let's kill these enemies off. I mean, like I explained the skills before, but it's just nice to see it in action. So now that we have this done, why don't we break? How about that? Would you like to? And see
that sounds like the fun part of this showcase.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. So, I'm gonna bring a couple units, and we're going to break the crap out of the enemy, because what you need to understand is that in order to even get the loss cap, the most important thing making happen here is you need to break while the treacherous intent debuff is active. So, let's go with Sarah. Let's go with Tinkili. Just give us some extra caps innately. Actually, no, I can't do that because I need to bring.
Yeah, and he's got a very nice base damage cap for dual wielding and that S3, those hit counts.
He does.
So that's what's nice, is that without even exploring his true gimmicks, he's already a very solid DPS.
So this is what I'm going to be running him. We don't need the right Slayer because it just doesn't. It's not necessary at all. We're going to be boosting. The reason I'm bringing Mirren and Eldravana right now is because the arc skill on this map specifically will be able to break. I think I have it's like 1500 base break, and then Mirren's got like a ton of multipliers with his paid and axe, and then like breaker and that powerful motor thing in his kit. So he's got a ton of innate break that amplify this up.
I want him so bad. I said I want him so bad.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do here is we're essentially going to apply the loss debuff. We're gonna make sure that treacherous intent is on the boss, and then we're just gonna immediately go into break with Mirren with Eldravana. So I'll apply this. We're gonna get our Council of 10 off. And when we see that loss debuff in the upper left, bang, it's up. We're gonna break.
It does take a second to get on the, even though it's insta-casted, I think.
Broken.
I do love that little change and break animation they did. I'm a fan.
So now we're looking at the loss debuff. Cut strength effect ends after break. Okay, you ready? 40 res to dark.
40 res, and he's also gonna cut it in half, right? Right. 2.1 million health.
One skill. Right here.
Oh. What happened?
One skill. That's disgusting.
It's pretty cool. So, my consensus...
That is only on the boss, right? Like, it's only on the boss. But
it's only on the boss.
If you have a way to break, he becomes just disgusting.
Yeah. Here's my best analogy my best simile, I think it is, for explaining what Joker is.
Yes, go ahead. Because I'm pretty sure I agree with this.
Yes, he is to broken boss mobs what Ardeen is to dragons.
Yes, spot on.
Metaphor.
Sorry, I didn't use like. Dang it.
I mean, metaphor, analogy, whatever. Simile.
I need to go back to school.
But what are you going to do? English is hard.
Dude, it's been a while since I've been in school. It's like just leaving my brain. Right? All that knowledge is gone.
It's so weird.
I 1000% agree with you. He is what to break broken enemies is what, as long as you have the loss debuff applied, right? He is to broken enemies as Ardeen is to dragons, 100%. And that's beautiful, right? We have a strong unit in general, but an absolutely broken ass niche, which is fantastic.
Love those. Love
That's
those.
what we're looking for.
If you can be compared to Ardeen, I already love you. It's just that simple for your boy Buddha.
Yep. And that comes with, you need to be breaking, right? Of course, this battle itself, with one El Dravana skill, that can work for Marin. But in most battles that have extremely high break bars, that's really not going to work. You're going to need to be using Marin or another breaker, using those skills to break, or Moonlit Murder to break. Like,
you have to build the team for it.
Yes.
For sure.
And because he himself is not going to be breaking at all.
No, sadly, he's not on all-in-one for his specific niche.
Nope, no chance.
I would have much preferred they took all the ailment stuff in his kit and made that break stuff in his kit instead.
Like, cool. Plus 2,000 capped enemies and break or something like that, or break given like break boost for free and stuff. I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah, like instead of
Yeah.
paranoia, give him like destroyer.
Yeah, that right. That would have been a much more cohesive synergy to his kit. A cohesive recipe. This is more like they were on the right track and then somehow just the spices spilled over and got into your mix. And it just is like it's spicy, but it's not synergistic. It's not.
Like someone looked at it, they're like, this guy's good, but we want to make him better. What can we give them? Oh, everyone likes these skills, right? Let's give them that. Like,
we need to make the meme where the guy with the good ideas gets thrown out the window. That's what we need to start doing.
Question for you. Do you want to go over? Actually, no, more of a statement. I see Declos puts Kyle for the break bar to be slower. So here's what needs to happen for him to be more effective as a DPS during break.
Good old Shift Kyle, always entering.
Shift Kyle is a not that great of a breaker, so I would not suggest ever running him in many parties. Not only that, if you make Joker break, sure. If he is the one to break, I think, right? He needs to be the one to break?
Yeah, it's 50%.
It's 50%.
But it has to be him.
It has to be. Well, let me just set only.
I think it's
double check.
Same or slightly less than Kyle.
Oop. Hello?
It'll be your mind.
It's 50%. They're both 50%. Put into break by unit. So this is unreasonable. Like, you're not going to be breaking with him at all. You shouldn't be. If it's taking you long enough to break by him, at that point you've probably used 1,000 skills. So
you're brand new.
Yeah, that's fair. But the most realistic way you can increase break timer and I know you guys know where I'm doing this. The clock arc. You can apply this to any party. This applies for the total party. Enemy break recovery speed plus 30%. So if you stick this on anyone in your party and you're going to break, like, let's say I put this on. This is a good party, right? If I'm just running this specifically, and I have a breaker, which in Marin can kill you as my support. This clock arc here, not only does it give extended buffs for buffs, debuffs, and status ailments, it also increases the break recovery time by 30%. So a boss is going to be in break longer by 30% more. This right here, without V, is an extremely strong party for physical DPS and breaking bosses and murdering content. So yeah, this works really, really well. For obvious reasons. Like, this is what I'm going to be running for a lot of hard content if I want to nuke bosses with Joker. It's so good. But yeah, that's a really fun build. That's a really good arc to have in the party if you want to extend, the loss timer that you're going to be nuking with. And that loss does end after break. I've never had anything live through a loss debuff so far, so I cannot confirm it goes away, but it's from what it states, it said loss debuff goes away after break, which is interesting. Notably, that treacherous intent debuff can be casted once a wave, but each ally that has it can cast it. So if you felt like if you were fighting 4 enemies and you have 3 or 4 enemies and you have 3 or 4 of the persona units in here and you want to cast treacherous debuff on every single one of them, you could do that. Absolutely. It is once per wave, not once per quest. And 0 MP. Why don't we get into the cat? How about that? Joker's pretty sick.
Let's talk about the cat.
He's a lot of fun. But
let's talk about Demos's favorite unit.
Oh, look, We're done, guys.
Well, this podcast is over.
Let's talk about this event.
So
About that arc.
no, stop it. Morgana is actually really fun.
Give him the
I know
respect.
a lot of people probably undersold him going into this, being like, "Oh, what the heck is that kit?" Kind of like, and of course we've been saying he needs testing. He needs testing. Like we'll see how he is. Well, we did see what everyone thought would be like, a really, really good strategy with him was his S2. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so why don't we start? Morgana being a creature typing, sure. Sure. That's about all I can note on this. He is,
Sure.
he's Earth attacker, but he's weak to Thunder, which confuses the hell out of me, to be honest.
Right.
I don't get that.
It's a little backwards
like his
with
kit.
LC logic.
Yeah, very confusing. And you say just like his kid. I'll cut you off is going to be a little jump S3. It's nothing. It's going to be melee line of sight, but it's okay. The S2 though, I'll heal you. Restore medium HP to all allies. I feel like explaining his kit is going to be a little bit of a little jumbled mess because there's so many things in his kit that need to be explained in order to understand how it synergizes. But his S2 is a basically healing wind type skill where you use it, it activates after a few seconds. Everyone gets the healing gets activated, but the animation takes a little bit. And then we're looking at the S3, which is actually a really nice hitter. It's like 15 or 16 hits, single wield, 30 or 32 dual wield, ranged persisting. Oh, by the way, I just want to mention, I tested both of their S3s, Joker and Morgana. They both persist.
I did see that.
Which is fantastic.
I can confirm.
This is instant and persisting is key to a lot of good units, and that's great. But the S3 itself is persisting as well as having 3,000 damage cap. It's very, very similar to Joker's S3. It's got a little wider AoE, but very good. And this is his main damage skill for sure. The end. Powerful with combo attack to all enemies. Finishing attack damage cap plus 40,000. Cool. AoE damage special. Nothing crazy. Like it's not an exorbitant amount of hits. It's good damage cap. Fine. That's fine. Let's get through his traits though, because his traits are where things get really, really interesting. So, Earth attack, Zoro, show your might. Earth attack damage plus 30%, critical damage plus 50%, critical damage cap plus 8,000. Boost physical attack damage based on mind. So this first part here,
Boo.
well, sure, critical damage cap is very conditional, but what's important to know about Morgana is that his crit can be very, very, very high, assuming you equip the right stuff on him. The more crit you have in your kit, the more likely he is to get that damage cap boost. The easier it is to cap most of your damage. It gets pretty wild because you don't necessarily have to be the strongest physical attacker with white damage. If you have the ability to have most of your hits crit and those be capping. Which is crazy. It's a little bit different of a way to build a unit than your normal physical DPS, and we're going to get into that for sure. But he also this is the first time we've seen it boosting physical attack damage based on mind. We assume, and I know this needs data mind, and we'll get that information from Lake, but we assume it's probably like a similar to thaumaturgy, where it's like 20% of mind gets additive to the damage calculation, just like thaumaturgy gets 20% of intelligence added to the damage calculation during your physical attacks. But that applies to both regulars and physical skills, so it's kind of nice. And that's essentially him being a healer with his S2, with spells that he has. That's going to be just boosting the overall effectiveness or survivability, sustainability of him in general. When attacking enemies with loss debuff, then again, this is requiring the loss debuff to happen. So enemy needs to have the treacherous intent and then go into break to activate the loss debuff. During that time, the critical rate is plus 5% and the damage cap is plus 10,000. I have not tested. I'm pretty sure this is only the critical damage cap. I have not tested if it's actually like all damage cap, but who knows? I'm not so sure. I I haven't geared him towards being a potential break nuker as much as Joker. So I have not actually brought him in there and paid attention to the damage caps. If it's Yeah, even if it's white damage, it's his crits are going to be capping regardless, which is wild. Trait 2, though, Magician, HP recovery from unit skills plus 100%. That means his S2 gets 100% heal boost, which is nuts. Notably, I should mention this before we go on. I'll heal you. Restore medium HP to all odds. Because this is a skill and not a casted spell, it can be crit innately. So the higher you jump his crit, the more likely it is for his S2 to crit upon healing, which is really, really interesting, and we have not seen before. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know about anybody else in the community. I'm not one to have built for crit on any healer ever. So the fact that I'm assuming people have seen the Pantheon staff or the Apocalypse staff and built for crit on people like Lena, Sarah, Maiden Theria, sure. I personally have not. So whenever I've used a healing skill, I've never seen them heal crit before. And even if I had put that staff on there, I probably would have assumed it was because of the staff. So because it's a skill, it works with his base crit innately. So you can get mad procs of heals in areas that healing is severely nuked, which is wild. Now that says for his skills. He doesn't have innate crit on healing spells that he's going to be casting, but you'd have to be using the Pantheon staff for that, or the Apocalypse staff it's called before Godforge, which is just a little bit interesting. But the most important facet of the skill 2, which I think a lot of people focused on, was basically he essentially gets alchemy for it, right? What we've seen with Roy and Ed and Alphonse from the FMA collab. When skills 2 stock is 0, use MP to use that skill. So while he has 0 stocks, he can still heal. It just costs you 135 MP in order to heal.
Jesus Christ. Sorry.
They nuked it.
Yeah.
They nuked the usefulness.
So bad.
I'm wondering, did I have sharp eyes on it though? I don't think it really matters. Even if I did, and even if it procced with that, that's a lot. So people were like, "Oh, if it's spammable, if it's MP." Well, 135 MP is a lot for a something that is not super spammable. And you can't like use it, and you get like a ton of SCT immediately. It's not as a healing. It's fantastic. Like if you need in a clutch per second, in the moment heal, fantastic. I think it's great, but it just does not. It doesn't feel like it could have been. If it had been like 40 MP to just spam heals, sure, I can see that. But even then, it's still not the fastest proc.
Well, yeah.
Regardless.
Well, even just the logic you said earlier to me.
Yep.
You went from, in total, Tweaks spammed 7 of them in 10 seconds.
Took 10 seconds to do so while he's doing nothing else except for spamming S2s.
That's a lot of time in this game. And in 10 seconds, he got 4 SCT from Spirit Breath on those 7 heals. I'm sorry, 3. Dude, I have 4 solidified in my brain. I don't know.
Sorry, that's the cost of it.
That's the cost of it. So 3 SCT. So in 10 seconds, Tweaks got 21 SCT total and burned through all of the skill stocks and alchemy procs. It's not a good return. That's not a time saver. It's not a fun. It's a slow.
So
and like you're saying, a drag of a.
The main
dynamic.
reason it is still useful, right, is because it is not intrusive to your gameplay.
Right.
If you want to use it and gain SCT back on your entire party, you're going to be using it, and then you can go do something else. Your entire party, if you run Spirit Breath on the whole crew, they're all going to get 3 SCT, sure. If you wanted to maximize this, you would add, instead, because he has Sacred Guardian and you can add high level Magic Tent, you'd add time stop heals instead to be way, like 1,000 times more effective. I don't know. It's
no, what I had in my head and what I think a lot of people had in their head when we were all brainstorming this idea was, at least I don't know for everyone else, but for me, I'm envisioning the OG Gorm special spam.
Yes.
And just like spamming S2 and the skill stocks are just like, it's not like that at all.
No, not even
Like
close.
Tweak said, it's super expensive. You don't get to cast a lot of them, and it's slow, dragged out animations before you can use the next stock.
And we can absolutely go through and test that
Right.
and show that. It's just there's optimal ways to do it, and that's not one of them. But he has some strong. If you want to use this, and you have no other options, cool. But assumingly, you probably do have the options that we're going to talk about. When close to death, give buff that nullifies damage taken equal to 1,000 or 1,000%, 100% of units max HP.
That would have been useful right there. 1,000.
Sure. So this is when close to death. This is going to be your under 30% HP. He's going to get a shield for 100% of the HP, which is the same. It's the same buff icon as Maja's initial barrier shield.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that kind of thing. So once it gets taken, once it gets hit off, then you'll not have it anymore, of course. So let's talk about skills, because the skills are really, really interesting. Mind up max, or MP up max, magic up max, arcane up, esoteric, critical up 3, advanced vitals. Sure, I mean, crit up 3 is a nice Innate. Advanced vitals is going to further alter his crits, and we'll go into what I've added him, because I think he's one unit in the game where I think a general build is going to work really, really well. With crit units specifically, you don't really need slayers that much, and that's talking like you still need some damage on the light damage in order to increase your base damage that's multiplied into the crits, but you don't need to rely heavily onto it. You're better off making sure that all of your hits crit in order to get that boosted damage from the critical damage increases. Wisdom protection, auto critical, nice to have. He has Earth Mega Drive, Earth Attack Raise 2, 3, and Earth Crit Raise. This is extremely strong for his physical attacks, having basically two
Wind
things
Damp.
that give plus 30%, as well as what?
Wind Damp.
Wind Damp. Yep, we're getting there.
Mhm.
And then Wind Damp, which is new, Earth Attack damage plus 30%, and Earth Damage cap plus 5,000. Sweet.
That's a
He
cool
has a
skill.
he has a ton of boosts, and this is why kind of you can lean pretty heavily into a general build, because he has so many good multipliers. He has 4 30% Earth attack boosts on physical attacks specifically, and then just another 5% crit rate on Earth and critical rate power of 50%. Like, that's crazy. And what we talked about before, Sacred Guardian. Sacred Guardian is 50% cast speed to healing spells.
Getting cast speed.
That's
So
a
good.
lot. If you simply add high level magic chant, which is 9 SC, sure, but goes to 70% cast speed. If you add Stardust Heal, that's going to be instant. It's near instant, right? It's a fraction of a second. It's not quite like 0 times, but it's going to be extremely quick. And it's going to be time stop, a heal to the entire party, as well as give the same function that had the S2 functions, except for only 30 MP instead of 135, with time stop, and you can spam another after it. This is the more ideal situation to SCT battery your entire team. The unfortunate part about this is that it is completely intrusive, because you're time stopping the entire battle. It's a little bit feels bad if you have to spam this and you're literally and your entire party is sitting there spamming this. It's incredibly effective at doing so, and he has such high cast speed that it's really, really nice for the entire party. It just feels a little bad sometimes. This is definitely the most optimal way to fill the party up with SCT as a fully permanent way. Of course, you could be using Glass Record instead. That's an even stronger boost. And being 70% cast speed is great for that. And of course, I have Honey Elixir on here, but we're gonna get into why Honey Elixir is just broken as all hell on him. Keep going. The next thing, Goddess Kiss. So, like we talked about before, if you have weapons that are Earth typing or Earth attribute, and he's critting on almost every physical attack, these are going to be extremely strong Goddess Kiss procs coming back from your damage on your regulars. Like, you're going to get your MP back very, very quickly if you're regular attacking in this procs. I know. Have you tested this at all, Buda? Because it's pretty ridiculous.
I have not.
And we're gonna showcase it. All right, we'll showcase it. But the crit procs on this are just disgusting. And this is why he becomes such a good SCT battery. Even if you don't have things like Honey Elixir, even if you don't have things like Goddess or Glass Record, like even with Stardust Heal or even Healing Wind or the S2, like the SCT battery potential of him, it gets outrageous. Um, which is I think really cool because you're not sacrificing a ton. You're building his physical attack damage anyways to amplify this MP regen in the first place, as well as he scales from M&D. So like he's going to be a fantastic healer, good SCT battery support, as well as a good physical DPS all in one, which is nuts. Maglion Shield, sure, that's whatever. Immovable object, whatever. Thaumaturge Ring. He also scales with the INT. Now we don't know the scaling of his skills already. I assume they all scale at least something with strength, but he also scales with MND and intelligence. Like 3 stats that boost into his physical attacks. Beast Repellent, sure. Blessed Speed, sure. Bow Mega Boost is nice to have. This gets 7% more crit, 20% more damage, as well as 2,000 damage cap when you equip a bow. Skill Charge 3 innate, Decoy innate. Snap out of it. This is interesting. This is a 35% chance when another ally gets a basic status ailment, heals it immediately. We're starting to see a bunch of these things that get healed immediately. So when we have ailments against you, one of the crazier things in the game that people probably don't use is Godly Body. Mern also has a fantastic particularity for that because whenever someone gets hit with an ailment and it gets healed off immediately, like you'll get hit with the ailment, but it's within the next like half second it goes away. Godly Body is like an innate +1 resist to that ailment for like 40 seconds, which it's only 4 SC, I think, 3 or 4 SC. Kind of crazy. It's just something that we've been able to see, protection from ailments, kind of, which is cool. Indoor, when taking lethal damage, survive with 1 HP until that attack ends. This works really, really well with the barrier that he has to make. So whenever he gets lethal damage, it automatically will proc that barrier. So we'll see how effective that is. That's just increases his survivability. Too Late for Regrets is a sign of the same thing that Joker has as well. If whenever the boss break gets a 10% or less once per wave, it'll give that treacherous intent debuff. So you don't necessarily need to cap it if you're not hard. If you're not hard breaking past that, like through that last 10%, this will apply. My turn now is going to be the same thing as Joker, plus 50% damage to loss debuff. When you use it on non-boss enemies, sure. I just don't think it's that good to use on there. Let's go through his skills though. Actually, you know what? No, equips first. This is probably this is my favorite build on him at the moment. Okay.
That's what I was just gonna say.
What?
Use those exact quips.
Well,
I was gonna say the free versions because like Gnome Hammer is super accessible and Gaia is not. But
Gaia is going to be your Godforge, but yes, I agree with you. This is just an example of what you should probably work towards. So Star Road, the Heavenly Bow. This is an AER from the Star Lord arc, which is, again, the arc that we're going to be using for this showcase entirely for Morgana. And for skills only, and being Earth attribute, for skills only, he gets 10% more crit rate on his Earth skills, which is not very nice. Gaia's Godhammer being the Godforge version of, Gnome Hammer, which is also 8% crit. This is also Earth attribute and gives another 8% crit rate. The reason being, you want Earth attribute weapons on him because you want strong Goddess Kiss procs. Even if they're resisted somewhat, because his crits are so strong, you're more likely than not to get extremely high Goddess Kiss procs, to get that MP back, to keep sustaining the entire party, and to keep sustaining yourself with SCT, which is pretty cool. And these both have very, very high crit rates. Deadly Choker is here as the accessory because it's a flat 3% boost. So yes, I'm going to be using that. Well, Morgana's Mask is actually interesting. And we'll go over the paid equip as well, or the paid weapon, but Morgana's Mask is interesting. Now, I don't normally like chance for special to criticals, and even on Morgana, it's like not that great, right? Like, yes, you can manipulate it, and yes, you can, if I'm using the Star-Lord arc to get more pursuits on criticals. The fact remains is that using specials on a unit is not going to be that much damage relative to, like, your overall gameplay, especially for one that's not mainly a special unit. So while it's useful, sure, because you're going to be having high crit rate, I just don't think it's that mandatory. This is probably my least favorite out of all the accessory or all the paid weapons that came out of the first banner. But it can still be useful. It's just not that useful. The most useful part of this, honestly, is probably the Matisse effect, the auto Matisse that you get, because auto Matisse is only available on an
I think it's LR.
it's a limited SSR, right? It's that like Band of Dunes, which we've only ever seen in the game like
Oh,
twice.
right.
Yes.
So this specifically is probably worth it. Not only that, we're going to scales from strength, intelligence, and mind. So this is all three of these stats are boosting into his physical damage, which is hilarious.
No kidding.
But let's talk about the paid real quick because I'm not going to equip it, but slingshot. I think it's beautiful that it's a bow and it's a slingshot. I think it's really funny. But all three stats applying to his physicals as well as being earth element. Critical damage plus 20%, critical cap plus 2,000 when physically attacking, cut enemy defense 10% deal damage. I wish this
I
was
know what you're
critical
gonna
rate
say.
something.
I knew you were
right?
gonna say. That's what I was
I'm
gonna
not
say.
saying it's got to be 20% critical rate, but
I
critical rate
am.
plus like 5%, critical rate plus 8%, something along those lines would have been optimal for a paid equip. Because then I honestly just wouldn't use the Star Road. But it's sad that this is only critical damage. This drops an entire opportunity to be using critical rate. I should mention that Star Road specifically is only skills, right? So on his regulars, you're not going to get that 10% boost. But where we're going to go into his kit is maxing out his crits. His crits and his heals. Why? Why, Tweaks? Why are we doing that? Well, I'm boosting his MND up mad. Mostly because not only does it help his S2 procs heal, it helps his healing heal, as well as helps his Proud Force procs heal. The amount of sustain that you can get from boosting his physical damage by boosting his MND and his sustainability, like, dude, it pairs so well with him. Which I think is one of the more optimal ways to play him. Critical up 1 and 2 because he doesn't have that innate. That's another 8% crit. Or sorry, 7% crit. Aim vitals on him. Again, this is going to be adding into you want to be trying to crit every single hit. And this is only going to further amplify the damage very, very easily for 4 SC. Proud Force, of course, hammer equip because he cannot equip the gnome hammer or the Gaia hammer innately. That speech or Earth High Drive I did add to him. That's from the Ardeen arc. Spear Breath. Yeah, this is what we talked about. Spear Breath. 3 seconds of SCT when HP is recovered by an active skill. This includes both his S2 as well as a casted spell. Spell heal. So, yes, very, very good. High level magic hand, that's going to be your casting speed plus 20% for all magic. That's going to be dumping, making his cast speed 50% for healing. Further making Stardust heal innate. And even further making Honey Elixir even more instant, which is wild. Dual wield, just like we talked about before. This is dual wield. This is what you're going to want for, your double chance at Goddess Kiss procs. This is going to be further amplify your damage and your crit chance. Getting each hit has its own separate crit chance, so yes, you're going to be wanting to use that. And then high speed chop cape. Like this is not a crazy in-depth build.
Not at all.
And I just kind of want to show you exactly because this is like a straight general build. And this I don't normally suggest general builds, but this is one of them. The arc we're going to be using, Heaven's Bow Star Lord. Reason being, when we have a bow equipped, critical rate plus 10%. That's all crit rate, sure. Damage against weak points plus 25%. This includes both slayers and attribute weaknesses. So if you felt like equipping a slayer on him, you could absolutely do that. But earth attribute weaknesses is totally fine too. And after criticals, deal an extra attack. This is going to be a 25% non-attribute pursuit on every critical. So that means if he's capping for 32k, because that's probably the numbers we're going to see most likely in this little showcase we're going to do. 32k. He gets an extra 8k hit on top of that. So in essence, every critical is going to be a 40k crit or 40k cap instead of 32k, which is crazy. Not only that, it applies if you have that paid on him, you're giving this to his special as well, giving that 10% crit or that 25% pursuit. So yeah, this is probably his best in slot arc for almost every single scenario. And you could be using Icy Guardian in places where they're ice weak and all that kind of stuff. And absolutely, you can do that. That's probably your more DPS option, but let's just go run him solo because this gets pretty wild. Now, notably, we have 2 Earth weapons. They're going to be neutral to Earth, and we're going to see just how ridiculous it is. This is the amount of SCT sustain. All right, so actually, you know what the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to use Honey Elixir on him real quick. Reason being, we're going to see the Goddess Kiss procs. They are neutral to Earth, and we have 2 high crit weapons. So you'll see about 70. Well, if I can get a nice little proc, that'd be great. Nope. All right. Well, that's just fun. There we go.
There it
408.
is.
400 SC on a Goddess gets procced, or 400 MP on a Goddess gets proc. That's ridiculous. Not building towards Slayer, not building towards anything, but just trying to hit a crit and get all that MP back and have it proc on the same thing is wild. Now, let's talk about his S2 gain, because we're going to use his S2. And he's going to heal, sure, but we're only going to get 3 SCT per. And I'm going to use, 1, 2, 3, 4. We use 5 in a row at this point. So let's do 5 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5 S2s. Look at how much SCD I regained on his S2. That's for all the MP and all the stocks I just used. And after the first one, of course, I'm gaining SC back. So it's just really not that ideal. Now, why don't we get some MP back? And there we go. Stardust heal. Great. 70% cast speed immediately. Now, this is intrusive, of course. But I can go like this, 30 MP. And again, another 3 SCT. Another 3 SCT.
I'm noticing you're not capping, which feels really bad.
Oh my god.
I'm saying, like, he's only healing for 5k.
That's fine. Fine with me. He's there for battery, dude. And if you wanted to give him healing boost and healing high boost, then you absolutely could. Those are on per marks.
Also,
100%.
Well, he's got plus 100%, and he's got
No, that 100%
what's it,
is only
Sacred
on
Guardian?
his skills. They're not active skills.
Oh,
it's actually his skills specifically. Yeah.
That's terrible.
oh my gosh.
Oh, here we go again. All right, regardless.
I swear I read active skill. That's my bad.
With this all in motion, right? We have max MP. You would expect to be like, oh, he's built full battery. He's not going to do much damage. Wait for it. Just
2.2 mil.
I mean, I'm not hitting the boss at all, but yeah, this is where we go. That's after he's dead, so don't worry about this. Pretty nuts, honestly. So let me put them weak for a second. Yeah, let's just invite again. Let's go throw out some skills. Great. Let's let them all group up. Come here. That's actually disgusting. So those 32k hits are all his crits, followed up by pursuit attacks, which is gross. Even with a general build not tailored into specific enemy typings, no slayers, no anti-typing, he's going to perform very, very well in a lot of scenarios. And he just fills that niche of like an SCT battery that probably a lot of people do not have. And being very easily achievable with, general earth weapons. These are both being perms. Perm, you really don't need the mask. I mean, just giving him dual wield, Spirit Breath, Earth Eye Drive, full crits, full MND. With this Starlord arc, he's gonna perform really, really well in a lot of places. So, I mean, he's definitely the more fun, but he's definitely a very fun unit, and I think more potent than a lot of people gave him credit for when he first came out, or before coming out. So, well, Buda's finally back. Buda, hi, hello.
What's going on?
We finished up the Morgana little showcase, but
he's a fun unit. People need to put respect on his name. I was busy getting dinner. I'm so sorry.
I know, it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna talk about the arc now, though.
Talk about it. I like this arc, man. And I gotta showcase the people. We got some volcano rolls in the house.
Ella arc called Royal. This is gonna be your 0.8% arc on the banner. HP is okay. MP is hilariously low once again. I mean, it's 16's. I just don't understand it. Regardless, 355 strength, sure. Intelligence 313, mind 210. Defense we don't care about. Chance to get an item when unit defeats a boss, 1 per boss. I have no clue if this is effective or not, or if this is technically a stolen boss. I assume it is.
Yeah, it doesn't stack with any other steals.
Okay. So I would love to see the chance on this. I don't know the chance on this, unfortunately. I also don't know the chance on the second part. Chance for skill attacks to deal an extra attack to enemies and break. That synergizes really, really well with him, obviously, or with both of them, because during break they want to get that loss debuff off. And then when an enemy is in break, restore SCT 15 seconds. This is very, very nice. Because you're wanting to be putting an enemy in break when you're using these two. Then Earth Dark Attack, critical damage cap plus 1000. Cool. Learnables though, pretty nice. Fast speed and surprise attack there, weak point boost, reverse cross, and gold rush all on the same arc is kind of wild. Fast speed, surprise attack are something that I teach to many, many units. Weak point boost is something that I teach to many, many units. There is something that I would love to teach to a lot of units. Reverse cross is also something that I would like to teach to a lot of units. This is a very learnable heavy arc. Not only that, Gold Rush 2 we've only ever seen on Chrome before. So having this learnable for whoever you want to use, if you don't auto run that much and you aren't capped at 99 million, yeah, definitely useful. Of course, this does not stack with Gold Rush, so like if you're already using that or an accessory, it's pretty cool.
What capped it? There's people aren't just capped at 99 gold all the time.
No,
If you're not auto running,
right?
I don't know about that life.
You don't know about that life. I know you explained it in your stream earlier, but auto running is key. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at some really good skills, and the two newest ones that we've had are the two most optimal, being there and reverse cross. There is cool. We don't have many options in the game ever that are going to be working with break percentage. We have breaker, that's learnable. We have axe eye boost, that's learnable. Of course, we have dual wield that doubles your hits, so that's going to be double break. But having there and being super situational, being you have to attack an attribute weakness in order to get that boost, even in certain scenarios where we have fire weak enemies, for Merrin or any other break that's going to have an attribute advantage, yeah, that's going to be really good for them as a breaker. Reverse cross is cool. Reverse rear physical attack critical rate plus 5%, critical damage plus 50%. I'm a big proponent of situating your units to attack the back of enemies, to take advantage of surprise attack and backstab. So if you're already doing that with people like Merrin, with people like using crits for Icy Guardian builds, if you're already going to be sticking your unit behind, this is a really nice crit rate boost for that. And it's only 6 SC.
It is only 6 SC. I was curious to ask you guys because when this was shown as teachable, a lot of the community got hyped, especially the veterans. I know because it's just been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
But did you feel hyped that this was finally teachable, or
No?
I felt like it was a bit overrated.
I mean, it's always been a little bit overrated, in my opinion.
yes and no.
Okay.
So like one of the main reasons I don't really care for Morgana, and I've made this pretty clear, is it's his entire kit or his damage part of his entire kit
Right.
revolves around crit, and I absolutely hate when they try to force these crit units like
Mhm.
BB Shin and Sukasa. It's useless. And part of the reason, and one of the biggest reasons it was useless, is because you were stuck at 50-60% crit rate if you really pushed it. Some units could maybe push 70-80 if you're spending all of their SC and min-maxing with everything that you possibly have, but you're
Right.
still like you're stuck. You can't like go past that very limited threshold. So having anything that allows me to increase the crit rate is something I'm going to be a fan of. Like
Mhm.
it's not the most optimal, and sure, it's not going to be on most of my units, but there are definitely situations where I'm going to want to put that on, like BB Shin and Sukasa, for example. Like I don't think either of them have it, and that's instantly going on both of them.
And same as Morgana. Like if you can, because his S3 doesn't move the enemy, if you can sit behind an enemy, and use the S3 to get even more 5% crit rate, however close you can get to 100% is going to maximize your damage. Not only that, is when you're in the rear, you get another. It's easier to cap that damage because it gets another 50% critical damage. Like this is extremely good on him, and like you said, Tsukasa, Bibishin, Mikasa, would also love this. If you can make sure that you're sticking behind, because your most optimal is going to be from back attacks anyways for most damage, and this is going to be really good on both of them, or all those units. So it's pretty fun, pretty fun. I like the arc. I like the arc skills. Let's go to the Arc Ether reward. This is actually pretty strong too. 60 strength, 60 intelligence. When party has at least 2 units and all are alive, physical/magical damage attack plus 8%. This essentially means if your entire party is alive and you have at least 2 units, you get a flat out boost, 8% physical, 8% magical, as well as 5 to all attributes. 5 resist to all attributes. That's a really nice AER. It's nothing broken, it's nothing crazy, but it's another damage booster. That's a really strong damage booster, as well as a defensive resist buff to attributes. I like it a lot. Yeah, cool. Again, like we've said with all this stuff, nothing is like, I need to chase this now. But that's a damn good arc. These are really good units. You should be having it, no matter what you pulled on the guaranteed ticket, you should be happy. I know Panda is not, but
I do not like this ugly ass cat. Okay, the best thing about him is that he's so tiny.
So I want to use that as a segue as to why, a little bit of bigger picture. Why should someone be happy with either or? My first response is because we just got Maze of Tartarus.
Yes.
And that type of content where now they want more units and arcs and team comps ready on your account, which means every individual unit now and how they play their role is a huge dynamic in a proper account building process to reach end game at the current point it's at. Both of these units, in my opinion, play their respective niche and highlighted roles fantastically.
They do.
Even beyond that, like, we got a ticket for one of the two. You should be happy with whatever you got because both of them are usable.
Very much usable.
The past couple of times, where we got a free unit from the collaboration, it was generally a unit that most people don't ever use. And there's not much use for them in the game, even with Maze of Tartarus. So, like, the fact that both of these units are usable, they're, not the best of the best, but you can use them in pretty much any content and they're going to do good.
All right.
Is great. Like,
and they have
you won.
They have some really good niches for each of them. Each have really strong uses. Like, I'm impressed with both. I'm impressed that they gave us 2 units and gave us a guarantee ticket that was for an actual good unit, which is hilarious. I like that a lot.
Like,
I agree.
I'll trash on the cat all day. I don't like the cat, but the fact that you can get close to 100% crit or even to 100%, means, like you said before, he can have a very generalized build, which is extremely, 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 extremely useful for new and mid-game players who don't have everything to teach it to, min-max. Like, okay, so you don't have this specific arc that has this specific slayer that helps you in this specific content. You don't need it. You just build it for crit, which you should be able to do pretty easily. And that's like, that's a huge selling point for that unit alone.
So are you guys ready to we'll get into the event in a second, but you guys want to mess up Margate a little bit?
Oh wow.
I won't.
You're right there, but
as soon as I finish with this food, I'm ready to start contributing again.
Well, I mean,
we
all
go.
you have to do is click one button.
Final bite.
That seems pretty complicated.
Oh shit.
Y'all like volcano rolls?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, they're so good.
What kind of question is that?
I don't know. Some people aren't down for the, the sushi game or the rolls.
Those people are
They're missing
menaces
out.
to society.
They're messing up. Just
All
for the
right.
record, I almost got him to level 100. So close.
Nice.
So close. But I didn't quite get there, guys. I'm like at level 90 at about 75%. And I have 0 power potions left.
Okay.
So.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can join.
That's
Panda, who are you going to bring?
Nice F.
That's the question.
Dang.
You can bring whoever you want.
What role do you want me to fill?
I mean, you don't need a roll because the DXR is going to break. We're going to damage with jokers. You can bring whoever you'd like, just don't troll.
I mean, you want me to bring damage? Support?
You can just bring support if you would like. Just like a Tinkilly, just to like literally sit there.
I will say, I don't have her built.
You just bring Yen.
Every time I go to the guild and I see the cat behind the bar or under the table, I laugh a little inside.
So funny.
It's so good.
Hold up. Let me close this lobby.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm setting
Let's see if I can reset to get a Morgana in the back. Please be first time.
I just had one in the back
right
and under the table.
You can't see him.
You got the opposite. Oh yeah, he's hiding. He's still.
I had it behind the bar and on the right side of the table, and like you could only see both their ears. It was great.
Oh, so sad.
There he is.
There it is. Little cat ears.
You can't see him. I have been petitioned. Oh, not petitioned, but I'm assuming there's going to be a petition coming out soon. Since our guild is the Saskat guild, that Morgana might be our.
No. Boo.
Anna's going to quit the guild if that happens, but.
We need to also. I didn't get to point out how freaking. Well, maybe in this battle, how tall this teenager is, bro.
What, Joker?
Yeah, Joker's a teenager. And
bro,
how.
Meelee's taller than him.
No chance.
Yeah, like it's
no chance.
Game FX. What are you gonna do?
Not in this game.
All right, we're gonna go over to before we get into the event stuff. We're gonna go nuke Martigate. How about that?
I'm super down.
Lobby is opening.
I am refreshing.
So the most important thing here is that I need to hold off on DXR's S3. Because last time you were doing this in your stream.
Yes, you can mess up the treacherous intent debuff application.
Yep.
You can jack that up. All right. We did learn that. I was going to say something else, and now I forgot it. It's the second time that happened to me tonight. Goodness gracious. Ugh.
Great.
I hate it.
Panda, are you coming?
All right, I'm coming.
Right,
okay. We were talking about his height. So, yeah, Galen in the comments is saying he's 6'2". If he's 6'2", that means everyone else on this roster is like under 5'4". Because this
said no trolling.
dude is...
No, I'm not going to use a special.
When he stands up straight, just pay attention.
I don't believe you, Panda.
I'm not.
Oh, that's the biggest troll I've ever seen in my life.
I'm expecting a special.
I don't know why I'm expecting any less.
I am anti-troll. What are you guys talking about?
Oh, you're the... Uh-huh.
Nice first wave shenanigans.
Somebody dropped the ball over here.
Oh my gosh.
What do you mean? Those grimaces are thick, boy. I don't think we're running gaze at the end. Maybe we might be running gaze.
Somebody dropped the ball over here.
Morgana's creature type, right?
Yeah.
For some reason. I'm sure there's like a persona like lore reason that makes sense, but like I don't know. They didn't tell me anything about that in the game, so like I don't know.
Buda, you're casting.
Looks like a cat. He should have been a beast.
I can cast. Yeah.
I'm not doing the casting. I'll just wait till it gets cast. I'll hit this, and then we'll do the thing.
I will accept this burden. It's casted. It's popped.
Bang, done. Then we go. This is called 60k, 66k on my end.
I don't even see my numbers. 54.
You guys are tripping. I was doing all the work.
Probably. Probably.
That's crazy.
I really need this point about his height to be made.
Oh
Yes,
my
I was tripping out earlier.
Anyways, that's some good damage during break. In case people were wondering.
Yeah, no, that's pretty decent. It's pretty nice. That is a fun way to grind Martigate. That's what that is.
Very efficient way to grind Margate. Just bring a breaker. That's all you gotta do. All right. You want to get into the event?
Let's talk about it, because it's actually kind of confusing.
It's very confusing, and I don't think we're gonna explain it correctly here.
Probably not. Probably not.
You guys are confused?
Basically, you go through the events. All right, so let's just start off the base. You go through the events. You play Path of Hows. Cool. Then you go through the Path of Deadly Trees. Cool. Then you go through the Path of Red Sunbeams. What you do here, every time you beat the last level, you unlock a high spot, sure. But each one of these levels specifically is going to give you different souls. So the Path of Hows, level 5. This is the last level. Every time you clear, you're going to get 10 Joker souls. Okay? Every time you clear the level 5 of the Path of Deadly Trees, you get 10 Morgana souls. Every time you clear the Path of Red Sunbeams, final level to level 2, you'll get 5 each of the souls for both Joker and Morgana. So it's up to you which one you want to grind. But while you do those, you get whatchamacallit? You get like those little quick tour things that cut 10 minutes off. Those watches
fast
as well
tickets,
as fast. It's essentially fast tour tickets, but they're not that useful.
Right.
And then you get anniversary, the medals for the trading space. But the heist, this is what you're going to be wanting to work on, and I have not reset since like 10 hours ago. So whoops. But you're going to be wanting to do heist areas. So you're going to be wanting to clear these. You essentially need to do 10 heists to clear this, 10 heists to clear this, 10 heists to clear this in the first part. And you're going to be getting a bunch of stuff along the way. The AP gain on these aren't really that good. And if you use Morgana or Joker in the party, you get like +1 drop, which isn't crazy. You're better off getting a bunch. So I'm going to complete all, sure. Let's let it go through. I do love this fact that they still added the tour stuff to them, like complete all, tour again, that stuff.
Yeah,
as well as when you complete heists, you get bonus quests. And these bonus quests are going to be nice for, I think it's AP gain. One of the two. I think they all do different things, but they're good for. Oh shit. Okay, let's do this. So success, I got a bunch of keys, whatever.
They give you the boxes, the bonus quests.
They give us boxes.
Yeah, they're cubes, I guess.
Yes,
that's what they're called.
We're going to jump in here and just throw this in. Now you saw the AP gain; it was only 1. It's really not that good. But what the fast tour ticket things does, like these things, compasses, it cuts off 10 minutes per. So if I'm going to add these, which I don't think is that useful, these are actually kind of rare and kind of cost a lot in the shop, but it's not worth it. Just do the 2 hours. And you can speed them up if you want. You can speed it up with 100 crystals. Like, that's just stupid. Why would you do that? Don't do that. So we're just gonna let this go. We're gonna like heist them all again. And you need to do it 10 heists in order to complete each area. It's whatever. But the bonus quests are interesting. This is where you can either have solo only quests or multi quests. I guess I'll do this. I don't know.
Speaking of that, I just did a multiplayer bonus quest, and I threw up Morgana because like that's the only EVP I got, and I had 3 other cats join.
Yep.
So we got 4 cats.
So what happens in this is actually if you join lobbies as well, you can build up your EVP. So every unit that is going to be coming in here, and you all boost the EVP. So if you're using Joker or Morgana in these quests, and everyone has it, you get plus 400% EVP. Which I think it's the multi quests give 50, and then our subsequent 250 points per quest, which is nice. Just gonna do this because memes. Interesting.
Nice.
It's interesting.
Super necessary.
Super necessary. I know, dude. I'm a troll. What can I say?
Just okay. Watch his height, please. Everyone.
He's
well,
looking,
we've got next.
He doesn't look that big. The gobbles.
I'm telling you, these are not. No, those are big gobbles, bro. You don't. This is a horrible
He's not that tall.
scenario for what I'm trying to prove here.
All right, so
I'm
what do you want me to do?
when he stands up, like, I'm just telling you, put Shift Roland on the team, bro. Just put Shift Roland on the team. That's all I gotta
Okay.
say.
Shift Roland. Who else do you want me to put on?
It doesn't matter.
Murrin?
Shift Roland, I would consider to be of that
So
taller than average height in Les Cloudia. Total head
So
cannon.
then do Joker, Shift Roland,
All right, so we're gonna
Morgana,
do this. Hold up.
and who's another short person?
I mean, I
Or
could
an
just
average
use
person?
V. Get your V because we're just gonna.
And V, sure, go ahead. Telling you,
Because it's just gonna be his V.
because you gotta
I have
understand.
options here. Again, who do you want?
Any of them. His
You want
battle
Shift Roland?
pose
You
is
want Shift
kind of
Roland in this?
crouched. I definitely want Shift Roland because Shift Roland stands up
Okay,
straight.
so we're looking at Shift Roland. We want Morgana in this. Yes.
No, we don't need a Morgana. I mean, it's just
Loug
gonna
Zeus
make
and who else?
It'd be funny to see.
Loug Zeus.
want-
Okay, he's not bigger than freaking Loug Zeus, but
Okay, well we're gonna see because you're adamant that
just put Shift Roland. See on there?
he's on there.
That's my most important art. That
Who
is
else?
my best piece of evidence in my case here.
Roy.
Sure.
Let's compare these three. All right.
Yep.
So it's gonna be depth perception, right?
Yeah,
I'm
we're
gonna
have
go
issues.
run over and stand next to each one of them.
Okay. I mean, it's just the windscreen. It's not his battle animation. He's too crouched. I'm telling you,
taller.
you have to win.
Look at this.
You have to win,
Look at this.
bro.
Look at this. Look at this. They're both crouched.
No, they're not.
He's saying the end screen. Like,
I understand. I'm
Go
just
ahead.
saying for right now.
My point
doesn't
will be
win.
proven when you decide to actually kill these mobs.
Buddha's like, do what I'm saying.
You're
Just
dragging
look.
it out.
Just do what I'm saying, goddammit.
And this is why I did not try to become a lawyer.
I said do this. Yeah, but no, I said do
All right,
this.
you ready? Are you ready for this?
Everyone, pay attention, please.
Screenshot this right now.
See,
We're
look
gonna
at Shift
pixel
Roland. Like
comparison.
Shift Roland's nice, standing up straight. He's regal
Pixel
right
comparison.
now. Here we go. Oh, it's not a good man.
Yeah, I don't, dude. I think you're like confused.
not.
Honestly.
I'm not. Whatever.
Those
Everyone
guys
in the
got special
chat,
volcano
please
rules over
feel
there?
free. Run your own experiments.
Depth perception,
And then
dude. He looks the same height as Roy.
I'll do some screenshots. We'll figure
You've
this
been
out.
playing with Morgana too much, I think.
I have not touched Morgana.
I mean, as a support, looking, dude.
Nope.
I sent you a screenshot in the chat, dude. This is like, they're like the same size.
No, they're not.
No, dude, you're tripping so hard.
No, I'm
dude.
not. I could go into more detail, but I don't want the people to get bored, so whatever. I tried.
I think they're just kind of roasting you. I don't think anyone's bored.
No, I think you like to roast me, D.
No, I'm reading your chat.
They're like the same height, but depth perception wise, like that's all.
Not.
Yes,
It's not.
I took a screenshot. You can literally go look at it. Anyways, you're
I actually haven't had any Stella tonight, surprisingly.
losing it, dude.
Hold on, I got.
Anywho, back to the event. So,
Nice.
back to the event. So we got this bonus quest going on. Sure, whatever. I don't really care about them. The drops, don't care. They give these boxes, whatever. You can run multi, you can run solo, however you would like to use them. I think they're only available for like an hour and a half. Yeah, an hour and a half once you actually unlock them. So make sure you do them immediately. But we're looking for part 2 to be more because when we're doing heist, we only have 3 areas so far. And this whole area down here, all this dark blacked out stuff, is going to be more spots. So make sure you finish these heists before the next area unlocks. And what do you do with the rewards? So we get like those special cubes from the rewards. You can go in here and unlock them. The unfortunate part of these is that these blue, yellow, and red cubes are all trash. Like if I do a blue cube right now, green, oh sweet.
It's just
5%.
random mats.
It's trash for you and me.
Correct.
For new players, this is amazing.
That's good. It's
If as long as
basically
you're
like
playing
the
the event,
it's like the
sure.
friend gotcha. It's like the
And you can
limited
get
time friend gotcha.
Essentially infinite of these if you keep joining parties in multiplayer too, like because those events, the event quests are joinable for the multi ones. And you don't have to do the grind EVP grind on your own account. You can go help others, or even get carried on others. It's fine. I haven't done this one yet. Oh, God Sealing Stone, sweet, yeah, great, awesome. This was hilarious. Magic Tome,
Okay.
thanks so much.
These are great for everyone besides you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for endgame players, it's like literally nothing, but for new players, great. It's actually pretty nice.
Even every other endgame player besides you
All
who
right.
doesn't have all their Godforge stuff done yet.
I
Like
mean, just trash.
those God Sealing Stones are good to have. You need a lot.
All right. Regardless, we have places to get. So when the event mission rewards and all that good stuff, you have a chance to get these like silver medals. I forget what they're called, but you can get these stamps from the shop. You can get a couple posters from the shop, as well as 300 each of Joker's and Morgana souls as you snag these gold medals. And then you can spend on search compasses. I wouldn't. You can get Mother Souls, Prayer Stardust, as well as, this special Cube 2 unlocker, as well as a collab ticket part 1. Assumingly this shop is going to get updated in the second part as well, so make sure you're stockpiling a bunch of stuff if you'd like to snag it immediately. But yeah, an okay trading shop. I expected like a bunch of mega clusters and stuff, or radiances, because we don't have... I mean, they're giving us 4 units, and that's a lot of radiances to use in mega clusters. I don't know. I would have expected more of those, but there's plenty of souls and prism and tickets from the event. There's a 10x ticket at 38.5k. Yeah. Snag that stuff whenever you get a chance. But the event is cool. I like the setup. I like the heist setup for this. I don't think it's not very difficult event. Like, you don't need to like have leveled up units, leveled up arcs. The max optimization and specialization you can do for this is just equipping a unit and an arc. You get like the max benefits. But it's interesting. It's interesting. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, if you have any downtime and you don't feel like, if you don't have any orbs left, you don't want to run any quests, you can always go into these and join any of these lobbies to keep getting quest rewards and EVP and event points. So bring your Joker and your Morgana, or Joker or your Morgana, and get everyone those EVP points. Pretty much it. That's it.
I agree. It's a nice newbie event.
Nice
newbie event.
I gotta do this. I gotta snag this. Orange orb covers. Thank you so much. Receive reward. Oh, I haven't unlocked this thing yet. Cool. Let's go unlock it. See what's in there. Wait, that's not the right thing. Cubes. Okay, special cube 1. I wonder what's in here. Wow. 20 first-rate power potions. Amazing. Okay. Well. What do you got, Budo? What's next? Anything?
Well, talking about a newbie event, what is not a newbie event is another game mode we just got. There you go. Listen, we don't got to go into depth. I'm not asking you to spoil any strategies. The people want to know your thoughts on this game mode, and you completed it in one day.
I mean, it's great. I had a lot of fun with it. It's, depressing that I cannot rank, but what are you gonna do? Let me see about doing this. Yeah, whatever. I have one team. I like the event. I like the whole aspect of it. The using 20 squads to clear levels, which is pretty sweet. I don't know. It's nothing crazy. Like, it's just... I mean, it is something crazy. It's the most endgame content we've ever had, and it further enforces the fact that you need to fully count fleshed out with units, arcs, skill trees, and knowing how to use them effectively and how to synergize with them. So, yeah, it's the most endgame content we've ever had, and for people who have been playing the game for a while, for people who have a lot of stuff in their account that haven't used a bunch of stuff, like, this is the perfect place to get familiar with stuff that you haven't used in a while. Like, for me especially, like, there are so many units that I've used here that I just have never touched in about like years, which is cool. I think that's a really efficient way to make people change their mind about how many units they need to build, right?
Yep.
It went from I need one good PDPS to I need everything that ever comes out.
Yep.
Almost, but yes.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, you're looking at building units just to get eke that little extra damage to help your help kill or help give you a little bit more survivability. You can build someone as a mage that you maybe have not before or maybe not have used in a while. Like, I mean, I remember, just for an example, like I had Chrome, and I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna build him as a stackable magic mage. Like, why not? Like, he gets some good damage boosts. Like, I need to eke out some extra damage, and I don't have another mage, so let's use him. Like, stuff like that.
I used Maja as a Thunder Gauge mage.
Yeah, you would.
But we got the job done.
You did. You got it done.
Wow.
But yeah, you cleared. I cleared. A bunch of other people have cleared. I think there's let me see this real quick. Oh, I can't look at the floors unless I give away my entire team, so I can't do that.
Bro, what you doing?
I think there's less than 20 people who have cleared the entire tower or entire maze as of right now. So pretty cool content. And that's like been out for a week. So
when are you gonna clear it, Panda?
One day I might not be lazy, but
oh, you know what's
I see that in the distant
future. Speaking of lazy, that you reminded me of a good point. This actually does expose where build presets would be a very nice feature tweaks, and I don't want to hear any. What are you gonna say?
The only thing that I think they should have added, which I don't really care for presets, whatever. The only thing they absolutely should have added was being able to copy from, like, input your builds from a different source. Like, if you already had, at least your passives, right? If you already had them built in another source, like, PvE, being able to just instantly go in here, and maybe the quips aren't specific, maybe the skills aren't optimized for this yet, but having the skills already equipped in general on your units, even if they don't have an effect for the other modes, just being able to copy that into here would have been a huge quality of life. Because yes, a lot of people just are super lazy and do not want to re-equip every skill. And I think that's some of the allure to it, right? That's why it's harder, because you do need to take the time to rethink all of your units and to build them again.
Yeah, half of the definition of difficult isn't necessarily that you have to like figure out a super intricate puzzle, but it's just time and effort that something takes.
Right. And that can be absolutely an alternative definition. Yeah, and that's one of the main things is using a unit, and you're like, all right, well, cool, I'll clear this floor, and then the next floor you're like, oh shit, I have to build 4 more units, or however many more units you want to use, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to min-max this and to make it work to even complete it. Like, I know none of these maps have technically, they don't have any timers to them, so you can build some super bulky units and take forever to beat it and clear the whole way through. I know some people who have done that and not min-max, they optimize their times. But a goal of this is to obviously get the lowest times possible. And that's speaking from end game, right? Like, most people will struggle just to clear it.
Yeah, we'll have sections of players.
Yeah. But just clearing it, you're gonna have to min-max your options quite a bit. And people who are new players, people who just don't have a lot of stuff in their account, who have been playing for even a year or so, like, they're not gonna have enough stuff to beat this hard of content easily at all. This is not your new game content. This is not even close. And people are asking, oh, like, how do I beat floor 1? Like, that's an issue if you're like, you're not gonna survive tower if you're asking how to complete floor 1. Like.
Yep.
You need to get that knowledge base underneath you. This is going to be, if you're starting now, this is like a year and a half, 2 years down the line where you're going to be starting to actually complete this. Like, this is not a now thing.
I mean, I'm over here considering like restructuring, because I have in the Discord, everyone who's in there knows, but I have some roles that I assign. Last Cloudia, veteran being one of them. I'm thinking about changing the requirements to get that role, just because of the shift in mindset you have to do now to beat this new level of difficulty in Last Cloudia.
Yep.
It's like,
clear maze or you're not a veteran.
Maybe not
I mean,
veteran.
that's
Maybe
like
not veteran. That's
that is like
elite.
the top tier of the veterans, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the most veteran thing you could possibly do. And even veterans for most scenarios either are gonna not care about this because they just don't feel like equipping all the skills and min-maxing it,
Correct.
or they're not even gonna be able to do it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the most, again, the most end game thing we could possibly ask for. And you know what? We've been asking for something like this for a very long time.
We have. I think
This
it's
is
super
something to
needed.
flesh out an account. I think the earliest things that we were like, oh, you need to build more units than the 4 you use. Tower, sure, you can build with 4 units. Then you had to expand to like, Dark Palace and Grave of Guardians of Heroes or Grave of Heroes. Those would be like, expanding out and building more units. This is building pretty much every single unit in your entire account to use.
Literally.
Um, mhm. Yep.
Yeah, but it's nice because this gives you that final level. It helps with developing the framework of advice you give to a new account. Because now we have this new final achievement that the end goal to be end game here is to beat this eventually. So you can take certain steps and have specific mindsets when you start the game in order to help you get there in some way, shape, or form. So I love it. I love it. I love how difficult it is. I do think that they need a streamlined way of equipping skills and equipment all together, which in my head makes the most sense in a preset fashion, but I don't know if I'll ever convince Tweaks that.
I mean, it definitely encourages, people who are like, maybe you didn't get the unit you wanted on like a collab or unit you wanted on a DOH banner, but at some point they're going to be useful for content like this. So any unit you get on pretty much anything is going to be somewhat useful, which
Yeah,
I think is really important.
absolutely. I was using characters I had written off, upgrading their boards, even if they weren't like 110, just level 100, getting their 108. And using them for some specific reason, just because that's what I was struggling with on that certain floor. So it fleshes out a lot. It adds a lot of depth to end game, which is awesome.
And you know what? I think I have some qualms about this because one couple things that I just really don't like about the event. Number one, I don't like that you can see every single top time team.
Yeah, we can talk about this.
I think that's bullshit. I think it's great because it's really super easy to spot cheaters. But from the knowledge that we have in the game and a lot of the veterans have in the game, it's very easy to tell who's cheating. I wonder how a rank 30, 31 account can get number 1 when we're looking at 45 plus. Yeah, okay, right? Like literal cheating. Just for that is fine. But seeing the top times, so let's go look at one specific level. So I think I'm on 18 at the moment. Just testing this team out and just playing with them. My best time. So one of the bigger aspects of this, it only ever shows your best time on up floor. So you don't ever know if you're being able to min-max your current team to you take out units to use somewhere else, and then you'll never replicate that best time. It will never show your current time as to what you have based on your score. So when you look at this time right here, this is your overall best time forever. It's not going to be your time that you have on the current floor currently on your current clear, which I just do not like. They need to be able to say, yeah, you can see your best time, but what's your current time? What am I working with here? What's my point total? I mean, you can see your point total, of course, but I need to know if I'm improving my previous time or not. And that's kind of one thing that I just don't like. And then I can't show it, but because you'll see literally every single one of my teams. But the ranking system, you can see the teams of the top 10 best times, or the top 10 best teams that have cleared it, and their times, their current times. Not, and again, let's say I clear floor 1 in let's say 1 second. Okay, it's not obviously not reasonable. Well, 1 second. That best time will show up as 1 second, no matter if I change my team or not. So I could be using, Shift Roland, 1 second clear, bang. But if I go to like an OG Kyle and clear in 25 minutes, it's gonna show 1 second clear with OG Kyle,
How weird.
which is super weird. I know that's like not how your ranking will show up, and then even with OG Kyle is 20 minutes, you're not going to show up in the top 10 ranking, of course. But that's how it's like coded, and I think that's really weird. Like it doesn't show your current time for the team you have in the top, which is fine. Like just try to not pay attention to that. And if you look in the like ranking in the floors, once you cleared, you can see the rankings. You'll like you'll see the teams, and this is the thing. I hate seeing the teams. I mean, people can't see my teams because I'm shadow banned. Like that's fine, whatever. And I try to be transparent. If you've cleared a floor, and if for people in Discord, if they've cleared a floor, like they would have seen my teams on the ranking because I have some pretty fast times. And like if they want to see them, they can more than welcome to ask. But like,
It's a weird
no,
feature.
it's so weird. You can just literally like, oh, I was cleared this time in 25 minutes, and like I don't know how to get that faster, but yeah, I cleared it. Let me go look at the first place team and replicate that. Like what? No,
Yeah.
that's like that goes against. That's crazy. In my opinion,
It wouldn't be such a big deal. It could have been such more of a community effort if they didn't have a ranking system tied to this.
Yep.
Because then if you could see
Dude.
like top 10, and it would help you improve your gameplay because it switches your thought like, oh, I didn't know these characters work together like this. You try it, you learn something, and then it's a community effort that you can check those strategies, improve your gameplay by learning from those who do it in those top levels. But because it's ranked, it's just really weird to me because we just got over the whole allowing support units in the last time trials and how annoyed both JP and Global were that there was this weird like collaborative effort in a ranking system.
Same shit here.
They did the same thing just in a different mask. Like it's the same conflicting dynamic in this type of event that is exactly what everyone was just pissed off about. So it surprises me that didn't go through anyone's head on the team. I think a lot of us, with my discussions with you, with a lot of people in Discord, with a lot of community members, it's very consistent why ranking just doesn't mesh with the decisions they made here.
That's also one of the reasons I haven't really like gone to try it, because like when this was teased to us forever ago, right? Oh, we might look at doing, an inverse tower type thing. It's like, okay, end game content, it's harder like a tower, right? Make the teams limited, cool. Make the clear reward like a really good UR arc or something. Make point rewards like some really good materials, and like give people rewards for clearing it and getting better at it and going farther in it. But I don't see the point in having it a ranking event. Like, there is no point in having it a ranking event. And it's counterintuitive, like you guys said. Like it feels like two different people had ideas, and they're like, we can't agree. Let's do both.
Right.
And they're like, okay.
Yes, exactly. So
that's not compromise.
and with all those qualms laid out about it, I also want to point out, don't forget that this is a beta. This is not like the official launch of this game mode. No, there's a whole feedback system. If the whole fan base says rankings, they will probably take away rankings. That's the point of releasing it as a beta, getting feedback so we can drop that kind. So it's not just shouting into the wind that we hate this, This is the time where this can actually change. You can be proactive with maybe let this be the first and last time we ever see ranking where you can also be collaborative.
I hate that. I mean, like it's good in the sense of like learning, right? But when it's you're competing against each other and you're literally giving people your teams to try to beat you, I don't get it.
Doesn't make sense. It's the same as giving people your support to beat you. Like, doesn't make sense.
It's so stupid.
Doesn't make sense. to me.
Where do I see the rewards? Oh, point rewards. Here we go.
Yes. Yes.
So I think one of the biggest qualms I have about this is that they locked these aesthetic things behind ranking.
Yep.
Right. As someone who is shadow banned, and as many of the community as we are, for people who have used macros, emulators, macros in the past, who are still shadow banned, who no longer use that crap, but play pretty legit. And AIs can check your actual runs and see if they're legit. Shadow banning sucks, man. Like, don't ever use macros, unfortunately, because you'll miss out on now they're starting to add aesthetic things to the game. Regardless if you want the UR dust or not, regardless if you're going for top 10 or not, this stuff you'll never get if you cannot rank. Like any of these cool support things, they're planning to add more in the future. So, I mean, this is one of the biggest problems. I mean, for a lot of the veterans in the community who have been shadow banned. I know Lax is in chat. I know Vagu. I know there's a bunch of different veterans that are all shadow banned that cannot rank in events. But regardless, like, this is stuff that's cool, but for some reason they're putting behind ranking.
And
I hate that.
Yeah, I think honestly, like, a solution I wouldn't mind is if this ranking reward was somehow converted into, like you said, just a completion award. You can literally keep everything the same. Just take these rewards, make it a completion type of thing where maybe if you beat the final floor, you get 2 UR Stardust or something, even 1. Just make it 1. And you get this icon border, and that just signifies you have beaten the maze, I would be fine with that. Literally make that change and then just remove ranking. Keep everything else the same. Just remove ranking. Make these point or completion rewards. For me, that's chef's kiss, sign on the dotted line. I'm good with my personal complaints about it.
I don't know where the whole UR dust available to the community like tailed off, right?
Yeah,
so
it has to be a
where
money
was
thing.
our UR dust during
Annie?
Nowhere to be found. Where with so many URs coming out, why lock these specifically only behind ranking and lock them behind arena, lock them behind the Crimson Ore shop?
You know why?
I mean, I know why. Because money's always the answer. I get it. But like,
it's not hard to figure out.
More options, man. Like,
yeah. And once people figure that stuff out, it feels very scummy.
The UR dust availability has dwindled, and the UR rate of release has quintupled?
What are we getting? 10 a year now? Like, it feels like it.
It's 1 a month at this rate.
Oh man,
literally. It's been consistently 1 every month for the last 3 months.
I mean,
almost
like we talked, like you and I and Buddha and Crypt have talked before. It is impossible for a casual player to get UR dust. Impossible.
Yep.
You are not gonna. If you're a casual player, you're not ranking in arena. You are not ranking in time trials. You are not buying them from Crimson Ore shop. You're just not.
You're getting the Crimson one like every 3 or 4 months at most.
Maybe more.
If you're lucky.
Or at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, people who want to use max level Great War Ruin, max level Theo Arcs, because you're not going to be able to do it unless you're a top player or you pay.
Which is sad.
And which is fine, which is okay. It's just don't bar it so hard against people getting them at all, right? Like you can't get them literally at all.
Yeah.
Even if it was like once every 3 months you get one, sure. It may take free to play players and casual players a long time to get it, but you could get it. Right now you can't.
And honestly, like, that wouldn't be so bad if a lot of the URs specifically, I want to say like 95% of them, a majority of their like usefulness that makes you like, oh, this is a great thing to have, is once it's max level arc skill.
Yep.
Like, until then, it's just okay, it's an arc, cool.
Uh-huh.
But like, you're not really using it to do anything meaningful until it's at max level arc skill, and most people aren't ever going to get there.
Aren't ever. Yeah, it's crazy. There needs to be some. I mean, maybe there doesn't need to be some way to do it. But it's
imbalanced.
It needs to become more accessible.
Yeah, it needs to be more balanced with
It,
the
and like what
facts
we talked about
presented
before, like
here.
even with like tower, like yes, there's no radiances in there, dude. Just make you are dust like 5,000 tower credentials. Like every 2.5 towers, maybe you can get one. Like
It just dawned on
something.
me that is Last Cloudia's expensive dupe system. Is UR
You are
skills.
dust.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, probably. That's definitely the most top. I mean, hardest to get thing. So yeah, maybe.
And the more duplicates you get, the more beneficial. Whereas,
I mean,
like with units,
do you?
duplicates, 2 SC per dupe does not give you a crazy ROI. But every arc skill level does.
The thing is with arc, the rich get richer, right? If you're generally spending and you know what you're doing, like I mean, my account specifically, like I have pretty much everything unlocked. I would have gotten first place in pretty much in the past year and a half ish. I would have gotten first place in pretty much everything, except I'm shadow banned. So like, it would have just considerably escalated my account, like because I could rank higher, And the people getting higher ranks, getting more UR dust, getting better UR skills, those are the ones that are consistently going to rank higher because they have that ability.
Correct.
Yeah. And there's no way to catch up to that. No. You can't catch up.
No.
I mean, not that people need to catch up.
Yeah, even someone
to be a way to even compete.
Correct. Even if someone grinded this game 24 hours a day, they would never have the tools that you have access to. Ever.
No. Nope.
At the same pace.
All I'm saying, man, UR dust 5K in the tower shop, or even if it's like 6K, just make it an exorbitant amount. Make us question if we want to spend on it. Make it like some casual way to get it, like something. I don't know.
I agree.
Just be like Scorpio, man.
Just be like Scorpio.
The tower.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
real
Christ.
Quick. Just one
just for everyone listening and for everyone in the chat, the devs have decided this guy is 100% a complete cheater, no matter what you hear from the community otherwise. So yes, a rank 31, clearing the final, I'm just going to say it, the final wave is 87 million health in 7 seconds, or rather 1 arc skill is not a legit way to clear it.
It doesn't exist.
So yes, while he's sitting here ranked number 1, he is 100% going to be removed at the end of ranking. So do not worry about this. This is literally a cheater.
The top 3 are not
no one else,
cheaters.
No, this is the only cheater here. Everyone else is legit. Everyone else I know from the community. I don't know Escort that well, but I'm assuming the rank 44 is legit. Like, that's not even an issue. But congratulations to Human Tornado, Dethrone, and Gilgo for being the top 3 at the moment. Cool. Just because I want to say it, I would be at 65.8K right now.
Flex it.
Just saying, if I can rank. So, yeah, unfortunately, I got screwed in shadow banned again. So maybe next time this comes around, it's like arena where people can rank those kind of rewards. I feel like so there's a few thoughts around the ranking award system, right? Either it's all time sensitive ranking events are the same kind of like shadow ban type deal, or it's based on if it gives currency, right? So the rankings, unfortunately, give currency as you get more points, and since you're shadow ban, you get 0 points. You can never get any of these gem rewards. And then as well, the time gated is you can't ever get any of these rewards as well. So I don't know if it's going to be if it's time based or if it's currency based, because I could see either being a reason why you would not let shadow ban people into the events. I think it's the time sensitive one, especially for like the current. I know for a lot of people who have used macros or auto clickers to, either keep their game up or auto run back in the day, pseudo auto run. That would be a reason why, time sensitive events are pretty sensitive to auto clicker macro use, because, faster than human response times, all that kind of stuff. I get it. It just sucks. So if you're playing this game new, don't friggin' use auto clickers. Don't use macros. At the chance of like you banning your account and you'll never be able to rank, just don't do it. Unless you don't care. Okay, then do whatever the hell you want. Just don't do it though. It sucks. Take it from someone, and I know a lot of people in the community who are veterans who are Shadowbanned, it sucks. Everyone will tell you, just suck it up. And now that we have auto run, there's no point.
Yep.
There's literally no point.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well said.
Sucks balls. It sucks balls. I'll be flat out.
Yeah, it does. But again, I want to close it on, it's the beta. We can pump that feedback. You just got to do it. I'll try and find that link. I forget how. You can access it in the game, right? In the news tab, I think. They give you a link to the feedback.
Yeah, so
page.
We have in here, I think there's a survey link.
Yeah,
news
somewhere.
Give us your feedback right here.
Right there.
This is our news. This will let me just double check and make sure this is popping up. I think this is for the so a survey will come up, and then there's a link to the survey for the Maze of Tartarus. So you'll have to copy that into your browser and just go do that.
So yeah, a lot of these things that do suck can change as long as we voice the concerns and what we are really not liking and liking. So we can keep seeing more of that.
If you hate the ranking system, if you hate seeing what other people are doing in the game and to achieve the ranking, and just go report if you feel strongly about it.
If you hate Morgana, go tell them.
Imagine that. I wonder who's going to do that.
Right. Just throwing that out there. Guys, is there anything else? A lot of other things. Is there anything else pertaining to the update? I think we pretty much covered everything that I had on my mental list.
I think so. I think that's good. I'm glad we talked about Maze a little bit, because I know we missed a podcast last week to talk about it, and it's gonna be us. So
yeah. So, and I beat it, so now I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah, you did beat it. I'm actually
my chest puffed out.
Not gonna lie, I'm impressed that you beat it.
Thank you.
I didn't know if your account would be able to, and I didn't know what the quality of an account would need to be.
Right.
I know you have good knowledge, right? So you understand the game pretty well.
Yes.
You have the ability to do so. I would just love to see the minimal account that can actually beat it, right? Because when we talk about things aren't timed, that adds a bit of a different. There's a huge difference between beating it,
yes, since
not being timed, and then
just
optimizing it, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's a huge difference there, and I think that's a main difference of why I know you and I are kind of resisting putting out guides for this, because it's hard to not give away all the sauce.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm still figuring out my feelings towards it, but obviously stay tuned and see what we come up with, if we come up with anything. I know I want to talk to you also and just get your thoughts. We haven't talked much about it except for right now, so
right.
We got to talk about that, and yeah, I think that's it. It's super interesting, and even like you said, even trying to beat a stage in 50 minutes per one, just lasting it out, it's not super realistic to do that.
No, it's not easy,
because a lot of times the sustain,
there's damage. There's a lot of damage.
There's damage from these mobs, and there are not a lot of you can sustain anything 100% forever if you wanted to.
Nope.
There's not a lot of that.
There's only so many supports, dude.
Exactly. So even doing it that way, realistically, I don't think it's all there. But I was down to the wire, bro. My last team composed of my last usable units. So it was interesting. It was a struggle.
I remember starting out with the Maze, and I think it was around 35-40 units for the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, it was less than that. But now that I've finished, I've used 72 to flesh it out.
To be super.
72 units I've fleshed out my roster with to use in the Maze. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No.
All having to reapply all of their skills and equipment and not reuse something twice.
And then basically treat each floor like a time trial.
Yeah, it's so silly. It's ridiculous, and it's great for endgame players, and it's something to build towards. So
it is, but that's why I think changing it from ranking to just some sort of completion. Maybe if they set they set completion rewards where if you can complete it in under a certain amount of time, you get that reward. Even something like that. Just make it a pure PvE, something that end game players can share amongst the community without risking their place. I think it would just go so much more smoothly.
They have the thing with the point system too. This is fine. Like this point system is fine. It's just
yeah, right.
They can use this reward system. Just use it for, let everyone do this. They use this as a complete PvE situation.
Yep. Yeah, just throw more missions on there. Exactly.
Throw more missions on here, or just make it everyone get points based on PvE. Like if you can make it time based. It's fine. Just make it one. I don't know. You know what I mean.
Anyway,
but
yeah, we're just ranting on at this point, guys. I think that's all we got for you this time. Like, subscribe, bell noties if you're new to the Buddha gang. You guys know the YouTube drill. Thank you all for being out here live, listening to us talk about this update for a few hours. Thank you to my co-hosts, as always, for holding it down and educating your boy Buddha, as well as everyone else who's interested in listening. With all that being said, guys, y'all know what we say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next podcast.